The self is not revealed either by the scriptures or by the instructions of a preceptor. And the self is not revealed without the instructions of a preceptor and without the help of the scripture. It's all about a balance here. Let's just say you've got a lot of books, a lot of scriptures, a lot of books about Advaita, about self-realisation. These books can become a bit of an emotional crutch, as can a guru figure. They're a way of putting off realisation. You don't need either books or a guru. Self-realisation can happen, although I think it's very useful if you have got some understanding from books so that you can actually realise what's happening. If you had self-realisation but no knowledge, no experience of self, you might interpret it in so many different ways, and it can lead you into some very unhelpful and limiting places. So if you've got this framework of self-realisation, then it allows you to realise what's going on. It allows you to optimise the realisation. It is revealed only when all these come together. It is only when the scriptural knowledge, instructions of a preceptor and true discipleship come together that self-knowledge is attained. So it comes together in a balanced way. I'm not sure the point is made very clearly here, but really it is only self that realises self. The guru cannot realise the self for you. The guru cannot give you this experience. Only you can direct your attention to itself. If your attention is focused on the guru, if it's focused on scriptures, then you're not going to get there. The attention has to come away from the guru, come away from the books, come back to itself. That which is, after all the senses have ceased to function, and all notions of pleasure and pain have vanished, is the self or Shiva, which is also indicated by expressions like that, truth, or reality. After all the senses have ceased to function. What sort of arcane condition is this? This is a yogic way of talking. They cease to function when we're no longer caught up in thinking in terms of them. Instead of sight and perception of objects, if we are just open to seeing and tasting, feeling, rather than thinking about how these things come to be with the assumption that there's something out there and there's a me here somehow experiencing that thing out there. If we give up in that story and just are open to the stream of experiencing, then we can say the senses have ceased to function. It's notions of the senses, because the senses are ultimately notional. However, that which is, when all these cease to be, exists, even when all these are present, like the limitless space. We free ourselves from notions, but the notions don't disappear. We're just free of them. Notions arise in our mental and emotional space. When the attention is resting in itself, these notions don't necessarily go away, but they've no longer got any pulling power. It's like a mirage. Once you realise something is a mirage, it doesn't go away, but you're no longer taken in by it. Out of their compassion for the ignorant, deluded ones, in an effort to awaken them spiritually, and to awaken in them a thirst for liberation, the Redeemers of the universe, known as Brahma, Indra, Rudra, and others, have composed scriptures like the Vedas and the Puranas, the legends. In these scriptures they have used words like consciousness, Brahman, Shiva, self, Lord, Supreme Self, etc. These words may imply diversity, but in truth there is no such diversity. So this is probably referring back to Vasishta's question about Shiva, Brahman and all the rest of it. There seems to be this apparent difference, but there is no such diversity. The truth indicated by the words like Brahman, etc., is indeed pure consciousness. In relation to it, even the limitless space is as gross and substantial as a great mountain. Space is often used as an analogy for consciousness, but space itself is also a notion. So when consciousness realizes itself, we're no longer caught up in notions of space either. The notion of space is no different in essence from the notion of a great mountain. That pure consciousness appears to be the knowable object and gives rise to the concept of intelligence or consciousness. Though being the innermost self, it is not an object of knowledge. As soon as we start talking about consciousness, we are making it into a concept. But that's only provisional. We mustn't fall into the trap of believing it's actually something. On account of a momentary conceptualization, this pure consciousness gives rise to the ego sense. I know. As soon as you start wanting to know things, to understand things, you're caught up in the whole pattern making faculty that we've got, into our story making faculty. We start making stories about our situation, about ourselves and the situation. We make that story first of all, and then we embellish it.